We're blessed as a community today to gather together to celebrate the gift of our mothers. We honor you, the women, the mothers that are present here among us, but we also are reminded of those mothers and grandmothers, those mother figures in our lives who have already joined that great cloud of witnesses in the kingdom of heaven. So as we gather today, we want to celebrate you and honor you and tell you how much you mean to us. And so I'm grateful that Boris Adokou and Anthony Edgar and Kevin Morrissette are here with us today to share with us some reflections as we gather on this Mother's Day. And so I invite Boris to come forward.
Good morning, everyone, and happy Mother's Day. My name is Boris, and it truly is a blessing to be before you all today. When trying to write the speech, I was given two questions to help me brainstorm some potential answers. What does my mother mean to me, and what do I value the most about our relationship? And in doing so, I came across Proverbs 31. Proverbs 31 describes to us what the perfect woman should look like. Verses 15 to 17 state, "She gets up while it is still at night. She provides food for her family and portions for her female servants." My mother is what Proverbs 31 describes to be the perfect woman. She wakes up at 5:30 to get ready for her work at a daycare because that is her passion, to help children learn and grow. I see my mother as a role model, not just for me, but for so many others. She is outspoken, smart, determined, but most of all, she is fearless. She isn't afraid to speak her mind, even if me and my sisters find it a bit controversial. Now, by all means, my mother isn't a perfect person. She can't always go to one of my sister's step tournaments, or show up to one of my guitar performances, or give me money when I ask, but she still tries. She tries her best for her kids because she wants the life that she could have never dreamed of growing up. Growing up in the African country of Togo, my mother has always dreamed of coming here to America to live the American dream and starting a life here. Me and my sisters are a staple of not just my mother's work, but for my father's as well. Had not been for my father, my mother would not be here in Chicago today. And without my mother, my father would also not be here. When writing the speech, I titled it Project Spawn Point for two reasons. Number one, so that I could keep the project a surprise from my mother, but number two, because it so resembles what my mother is to me. A spawn point is defined as a location where players enter the game map. When we are first born, it is in our mother's hands that we are first held in. It is also with our mothers that we are taken care of for the first few years of our lives. In a book I read for class called Things Fall Apart by Chinua Achebe, I read that after the father's discipline, the child always returns to the mother for comfort. And I believe that this is true. My mother is a safe place, a place where I can talk about most of my feelings and not worry about her taking it the wrong way. So before I end it, I want to answer with the two questions that I had such a difficult time answering in the first place. What does my mother mean to me, and what do I value the most about our relationship? To my mother, who's probably watching this live, I know that it must be hard to see the little boy you raised turn into a man, but I just wanted to let you know that I'll be fine. It is because of your hard work, dedication, and patience that I am able to face the world and high school. Words cannot describe the love I feel for my mother and the pride in knowing that she is my mom. I value her pride in me as her son, her patience and being able to put up with my troubles. But most of all, I value her unconditional love for me. And it means so much to know that whatever I do or wherever I end up, I will always have my mother's love. Thank you, and happy Mother's Day.
All my life you have been faithful. Praise God for that word. Come on, sing it with me. All my life. 'Cause all my life you have been so good. With every breath that I am Oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. Come on, one more time. All my life, 'cause all my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so, so good. 'Cause all my life you have been so, so. With every breath that oh, I will sing, oh, I will, of the goodness of God.
Good morning. On this Mother's Day, as we gather in reflection and gratitude, I find myself contemplating the profound impact my mother has had on my life. What does she mean to me? Simply put, she means everything. They say a mother is your first friend, and looking back, I realize how true that is. My mother embodies qualities of love, encouragement, thoughtfulness, and emotional strength. She instilled in my sisters and me the importance of education and faith, shaping our values and aspirations from a young age. Recalling our shared experiences brings a flood of memories. From introducing to me to my first love, Godzilla and monster movies, while I was in kindergarten, to patiently waiting in line at the museum to see artifacts of King Tut. My mother made sure our upbringing was rich with cultural exposure. Our home was a treasure trove of educational books, sparking curiosity about topics ranging from outer space to mathematics to the wonders of the oceans. She was firm about certain rules, insisting on designated study times, even when I was tempted to watch Speed Racer. As the years passed and I ventured into adulthood, our relationship evolved. Despite the distance during my time away at school, my mother's unwavering support was a constant source of strength. Her intuition seemed almost uncanny, sending care packages and heartfelt phone calls just when I needed them the most, offering encouragement to me to see through the challenges of university life. Upon returning home to begin my career, her support continued. Through the trials of job hunting and the frustrations of rejection, her words of reassurance sustained my spirits and kept me focused on the path ahead. Her guidance proved invaluable as I navigated the complexities of adulthood, from securing my first apartment to navigating workplace dynamics and relationships. Her dedication as a kindergarten teacher touched the lives of countless students and parents, leaving a legacy of care and compassion that continues to this day. Even as her memory begins to fade, my mother's compassion and wisdom remain a guiding light in my life. As we celebrate mothers everywhere today, let us take a moment to honor the remarkable women who shape our lives and inspire us to be our best selves. To my mother, thank you for everything. Your love is the foundation upon which I build my life, and I'm endlessly grateful for that gift. Happy Mother's Day.
All my life you have been faithful. Come on, church, sing it with me. All my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am at, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. Come on, all my life. All my life you have been. So all my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I, oh, I will sing of the goodness.
4 months and 10 days ago, just 30 minutes after gathering at her bedside to ring in the new year, my siblings and I crawled into my mother's bed. While holding her, we watched as the vessel that God chose to bring us into this world breathed her last breaths. As we silently absorbed the moment, we did so knowing that life would forever be separated by before and after this day. My mother wasn't just a loved one. She was a part of us, and we would never be the same. New Year's Day was the start of firsts in our family. First family dinner without her, first birthdays without her, and now this weekend, the first Mother's Day where we joined those left to reflect on our mother's legacies instead of celebrating their presence in our lives. It's a club I suspect few are ready to join. It's a club I couldn't imagine before having to join myself. My mother was the perfect mother for me. She was amazing. The person I loved, liked, admired, and leaned on most in this world. I consulted her on all decisions, big and small, and I happily devoted myself to her as best I could. The esteem I feel for her is like so many others in how they would describe their mothers, who they see in similar ways and hold in similar regard. Now, it's important to acknowledge that every female who gives birth is not a mother. And by that same token, there are a lot of great mothers out there who have never given birth. Motherhood is a sacred calling because while it takes on so many different forms, it comes back to the same principle. Our mothers are our first teachers. Since my mother's death, I'm learning to cope. The world feels a little less safe than it was before. I feel a little less secure in it. But I realize this world, the world without her in it, is the one she trained me for. I vividly remember her telling me at a fairly young age that there were going to be things that I would have to figure out and learn on my own. But by example, she taught my siblings and I about unconditional love, independence, resilience, responsibility, and perseverance. She insisted we finish what we started and reminded us nothing in life is free. You work for everything you receive. My mother was quick to stress that the world owed us nothing, while at the same time reminding us what we owed the world. We were taught that what happens in the lives of people around us should matter to us. She was quietly generous, never expecting anything in return. Through her, we learned kindness. It's easy to treat people right when you need them. To her, the ultimate judgment in character was how you treated people you didn't currently need. No one was big or small to her. She was equally considerate. She also showed us how to not take ourselves too seriously. She always greeted the world with a smile. And most importantly, she taught us to never give up on God and to never give up on hope. I arrived at my first Mass in this building as an infant in a stroller, and throughout my childhood was here most Sundays, whether by choice or by force. And as a single mother, she struggled at times, and faith was important to her, and she instilled a love of God in us and that in all things we should give thanks. As kids, we knew life wasn't always easy for her. As her children, we witnessed both triumphs and setbacks in her life. But what an awesome God we serve, that despite everything she had been through, the Lord allowed her to leave this world like a queen. I'll forever be grateful that my mother lived a life worth living. I acquired my most cherished possession hours before my mother's death. She'd made that last trip home from the hospital, and then we had gotten her settled in her bed. And by this time, she was no longer speaking and was only minimally responding when spoken to. Not knowing Ma was in her last hours, my sister Nicole got to making schedules for medication and turning her so she wouldn't develop bed sores. And while looking for a paper clip to bind everything together, Nikki opened the bottom drawer of my mother's nightstand. And there she discovered Ma had gathered all her important papers and left them for us to find. On top of her passport, birth certificate, divorce decree, and written final wishes were 2 gifts, one with my name on it and one with Nikki's. We opened the gift wrap boxes to find charms with an inscription on the back that said, "I'm always with you. Be brave, have courage, and love life. She taught us one last lesson, how to say goodbye. And with those charms was a handwritten note. And the note says, "But above all, remember your training." There is sorrow in my heart today, but I do not mourn like those with no hope. I know exactly where my mother is. And I also have blessed assurance that if I manifest her vision for the man she worked toward me becoming, if above all I remember my training, I know I will see her again. Today we celebrate motherhood, those women who were our first teachers, who trained us as best they could. And in a special way, I want to acknowledge the single mothers out there who sometimes by no choice of their own navigate parenthood alone. Those women who are forced to become the disciplinarian and the comforter at the same time. We see you. And more importantly, your children see you. It may not always feel like it, but your impact on your children is greater than you'll ever think. My worry, and one of my most sincere prayers, is that my mother left this world knowing how big a deal she is in the lives of her children. I pray she knew how much we loved talking and laughing with her, how sharing things, big and small, meant so much and made us all love her more. Happy Mother's Day, today and always. May you mothers always feel seen, supported, cherished, and respected. And may you all know how much we've got bless God for you. Thank you all very much, and God bless you all.
All my life you have been faithful. Come on, church, sing it. 'Cause all my life you have been so good. With every breath, and able, I will sing of the goodness of God. 'Cause all my life you have been, all my life you have been so good. Every breath that I will sing of the goodness of God.
I think the words, the reflections that Boris and Anthony and Kevin shared, they sort of encapsulate what so many of us feel about our mothers. And so we're glad today to celebrate you, our mothers that are present here with us. We're grateful today to remember all the mothers who have gone before us. And so I want to invite all of the women that are gathered here, all of you who are mothers and grandmothers and aunties and play mothers and godmothers and church mothers, all of you women of faith, to come forward so that we can celebrate you, so that we can pray a prayer of blessing over you. If you're not able to come forward, then just stand in your place and we'll pray that blessing for you.
Your goodness is running after me. Your goodness is running after me. With my life laid down, I surrender now. I give you everything. Oh yes, your goodness is running after me. Your goodness is running after me. Your goodness is running after me. With my life laid down, I surrender now.
gather on this Mother's Day, we celebrate you, our first friends, our first teachers, the first ones to share with us the gift of God's love. And so I invite the rest of us who are here in the pews to extend a hand of blessing over these women. Loving God, as a mother gives life and nourishment to her children, so you give life and care for your church. Bless these women as we celebrate this day in their honor. May they be strengthened as women, as Christian mothers. Let the example of their faith and love shine forth. Gracious God, we honor these women who are creators and providers and nurturers. Fill them today with gifts of joy, peace, and love. Grant that we, their sons and daughters, may honor and appreciate them with a spirit of profound respect. May the example of Mary, the mother of Jesus, inspire them to live their vocation as Christian mothers and call their children to faith. Guide and protect them in challenging times and help them to continue to trust in you all the days of their lives. And we ask you, Lord, to bless them this day in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit. Today we're going to share with you these carnations and a small gift for each of you. For those of you who have lost your mother, carry the white carnation to honor her memory, trusting that her spirit is truly with us today. And for those whose mothers are still living, carry the red carnation as a sign of respect for the woman who continues to walk with you. And again, on behalf of all of us here in the parish, happy Mother's Day to each and every one of you.
Your goodness is running after,